Good morning, and welcome to this live broadcast, a three-country ride to cure breast cancer, presented by SpotLink and benefiting the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Today, as part of our daily morning Mingle series, we have the pleasure of speaking with Mike Quigley, the Assistant Curator here at the Peary-MacMillan Arctic Studies and Arctic Studies Center. Thanks, Mike, for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming, and thanks for doing this ride.
Well, great, thanks. Can you tell, so we're here in Brunswick, Maine. Can you tell us a little bit about Brunswick?
Yeah, Brunswick's a really nice small town. It's on kind of the southern mid-coast of Maine. It's kind of got a college town vibe in the wintertime, a little bit more vacation-y feel in the summertime. It's surrounded by really beautiful coastlines, forests, small farms, and it's about 30 minutes from Portland, Maine, which is really cool, a small city. So it's a great place to live or visit.
Yeah, we really liked it. So we're here in the museum. Can you tell us a little bit about the Peary-MacMillan Arctic Museum and Arctic Studies Center?
Sure. Yeah, I know the name is a mouthful. So Robert Peary and Donald MacMillan were both Bowdoin alums and both Arctic explorers. Robert Peary led the first successful expedition to the North Pole in 1908 to 1909, and he had invited Donald MacMillan to be a member of that expedition, and that was MacMillan's first trip to the Arctic and Peary's last trip. And then continuing through the mid-20th century, MacMillan continued to travel to the Arctic pretty frequently, often on a small schooner that he had built specifically for Arctic travel called the Bowdoin. And oftentimes he would bring Bowdoin students with him up into the Arctic. So when MacMillan retired from Arctic travel in the 1960s, he decided to donate his entire collection of ethnographic material, film, photography, notebooks, all that stuff to the college. And so the museum was founded in 1967 to house all of that. And since then, our collections have grown quite a bit. We now have a lot of contemporary Inuit art as well. So,
wow, that's great. What are some of the more notable items or exhibits you have here?
Well, it's always hard to pick one thing because like I was kind of saying, the collections are really wide-ranging. One thing that we actually get a lot of attention lately is right over there. It's a waterproof parka that's made out of seal intestine. It would probably be pretty useful on your ride today because it's raining outside. So it's actually a pretty popular type of traditional garment that's made in certain communities in Siberia and Alaska. But this one in particular was collected by a whaling captain who was from Maine in the late 19th century. It actually sat in his family's barn for about 100 years before the family dug it out and recognized it and decided to donate it to the museum. So it's still in remarkable condition.
Yeah, really durable.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're going to turn around and show it to you, so hold on here just a second. Okay, so yeah, so how old is that overall?
It's, like I said, from the late 19th century. I'm not sure exactly what year it was made, but yeah.
So that sat in a barn for 100 years and then came here, so that's a really durable material.
A little work, I think. We had a conservator help us to sort of reshape it and to get it into that shape. It had been a little saggy and had gotten a little crispy, I think, from hanging on a wire coat hanger. But.
I'm curious if I just go a little off. I mean, that made out of intestine, I mean, is that like a prized item up there, or is it, they make a lot of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's, like I said, it's a pretty common traditional garment. They still make them in certain communities up there, but it takes a lot of work, as you can imagine. I mean, you see all those little strips and what it takes to, cure that material properly and dry it out and sew it all together. And, not only is it so useful, but it's also such a beautifully made and decorated object too. So.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do in your daily job as the assistant curator?
Yes. So we're a small museum. We have a very small staff. So our all of our roles here are pretty wide ranging. On any given day, I might be helping to design or install exhibits. Cataloging new acquisitions, rehousing older collections. Lately, I've been spending a lot of time on a project to digitize MacMillan's collection of over 2,000 glass lantern slides. So hand-tinted glass lantern size. It's really interesting collection. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Of course, we're doing this ride to raise money for the Breast Cancer Research Foundation to cure breast cancer. Is there anything about our cause that is personal to you?
Well, I mean, I'm sure as you've been finding on this ride, breast cancer has really affected everybody, or everybody at least knows somebody who's been affected. And some of the closest women to me in my life have been affected by breast cancer. And so I think this is really great what you guys are doing to raise awareness. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, thank you. So we're going to be heading to Augusta today. Is there any advice you can give us for our journey today?
Try to keep dry, I guess, first of all.
Yeah.
Sorry about the weather. You know, it's going to be a beautiful ride regardless. You're going through some really nice countryside, so enjoy the scenery. If you haven't gotten a lobster roll yet or some kind of seafood, you should definitely do that before you get too far off the coast. Also, Maine has a really fantastic craft brewery scene. So if you're looking for a celebratory draft when you get to Augusta, keep it local.
All right, will do. Okay, one final question, and you're probably a prime candidate for this one. Is there a weird fact you know and want to share?
A lot of people might be surprised to learn that alligators once roamed the Arctic pretty widely. Something like 50 million years ago. The climate was much different than it is today, probably because there was a higher percentage of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And so, yeah, there are lots of alligators and other reptiles and amphibians in the fossil record up there. So,
Wow. There you go. You heard it here. So, okay. Well, thanks, Mike. I so appreciate you spending your time.
Thanks again for doing this. It's been really fun.
Thanks. All right, we're going to head off now. So catch us for our